Yo, what's good, y'all? What's good? What's good? Welcome to another episode of Mint Street Mondays, brought to you by, exclusively by, powered by the One Carolina Network. Salute to y'all, man. It's Victory Monday, baby. It's Victory Monday. I see a lot of y'all in the chat already talking about the song choice. You know what time it is with me, man. You know what I do, right? Dolphins got hit with the Rico. You know what I'm saying? Like, big time. Salute to Rico Dout, man. Like, you know, AC Reynolds alum, myself, AC Reynolds alum, Asheville stand up. I saw them mention yesterday on the broadcast. I was like, man, they talked about Rico from nearby Gaffney. I'm like, hey, man, get it right, bro. Yeah, Rico might have been born in Gaffney, but Rico is the pride of AC Reynolds High School, dog. Get it right. Anyway. Shout out to y'all in the chat, man. Appreciate you joining me on this Monday. Shout out to Dizzy Lizard Productions, says I believe Rico should be starting against Dallas Sunday after the clinic he put on. We'll talk about that. Nicole says, nice song choice. Yes, ma'am. QJ Smith, what up, Jeek? K. Francis, what's going on? Palmetto Panther, what's good? What's good? Andre Easter, Key, my man, on the road to 5K. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate the love. Yes, sir. All right, man, 66, between 69 and 68 people watching between two platforms, man. Y'all make sure to smash that like button so that you don't miss the algorithm or a video for that matter. All right, let's get to it. So, yeah, I mean, we'll start where we supposed to start. They say start from the beginning. It's a beautiful place to start. Rico Dout, man. Rico, this was incredible. This was absolutely incredible. Second highest rushing total in Panther history, right? Single game rushing total behind Jonathan Stewart in Panther history. I think we found something, right? I was talking to somebody yesterday and I was like, man, do you think that there's been guys that have had success at other teams and then gone somewhere else and, had more success. Like, I looked at Rico and I was like, is it possible that Dave Canales might have found his version of Marshawn Lynch? Now, I'm not calling Rico, slow down. I don't want y'all to be like, man, really? No. Not saying that, right? But what I am saying is that sometimes certain guys fit your scheme and can do other things equally as well, right? Like, we know historically Chuba Hubbard has struggled when it comes to catching out of the backfield. This is really not his strong suit, right? And when Bryce made that little kind of, throw around the defender to Rico and, Rico picked up a few yards, it wasn't, so significant that he picked up, a ton of yards or whatever after that catch. But it's just the threat that it offers, because now you can game plan that even more, especially if he becomes your starting back. Because I think Rico really, and I mean, it's hard to know that what he could be as far as a Marshawn Lynch type, or go from one team to the next. Stephen Davis with us, historically, right? To see what they could be, because he was shelved. I mean, in the few opportunities that he did get, he showed why, it was important that you had him around. I mean, I remember watching him against Green Bay some years ago, and like, he caught like a wheel route, and I mean, took it to the crib. And I was just thinking, like, man, why don't they use that more? Because like Zeke Elliott was good at it, no doubt. But it was like, you would just like to see more of that, from them. And so it feels to me like he was just kind of buried behind Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott. Got his opportunity last year, rushed for 1,000 yards, right? And so it's not necessarily a huge surprise. Sometimes guys just need a chance. And he got his chance, and look, we see the result, right? Now, I know this is going to make a very, very interesting conversation starter for us and, everybody else about who should start, moving forward. I'll say this. I'm not ready to just like completely crown him and take, Chuba out of the equation. But when Chuba was paired with Deontay Foreman, especially when you look back at the Lions game, right? The year that I think it was like 200 and like, it might have been over 300 yards rushing, right? I don't have it in front of me right now to look. Y'all can correct me in the chat. But like, it felt to me like Deontay was kind of more your bell cow, and Chuba was, I don't want to call him a cleanup man, but it was like a 1 and 1A situation. I mean, maybe Rico does need to be the starter. Now, one of the reasons why I feel like this is different is mainly because of this. So Rico did call his own shot. Salute to Carolina Blitz, Vashti from Carolina Blitz, posted this video, and hearing him say this is significant.
The first run out of halftime, I actually told Coach Brad to call that when it was the toss play to the right. I went to him in the second quarter and asked him could he call that play, and I think it was the first, it's an inside zone play. They never ran inside zone here. But I asked him could he run that one too, and it was a positive game. He came up to me after the game and was like, just tell me which runs you want to run. Coming out meeting, yeah.
So you called that one?
I asked him, I didn't call it. They actually called it. But I asked him could he call it, yeah. I asked him could he call it.
That's fascinating. I don't know what's more fascinating, the fact that he was able to get that off, like, or that Brad Isaac said to him, like, hey, man, like, tell me what you want to run. I've heard that before. I heard Dave Canales say something similar. We talked to Bryce about the plays that he likes, things that, are comfortable for him, and then we kind of continue in that process. It makes you wonder. I went on ad nauseum last week, and look, my dog showed up, man. My dog showed up. I talked ad nauseum about Jimmy Horn Jr., and my dog showed up. I mean, yeah, it wasn't, Jimmy didn't have, 70, 80 yards receiving like McMillan. But, man, that fourth down catch in a moment where you need it the most, like putting nickel defender in a blender, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, my dog on the way. But we're gonna get to that later. But the point is like, I went ad nauseum about guys who have just this self-belief, right? Now, I'm not saying that this hadn't happened before, that we hadn't had other instances of, other players on this current team, not in the past, right? Because we know in the past, I mean, this kind of stuff, we're used to seeing that. But I'm talking about more recent, that we've got guys that would be willing to say, like, hey, man, like you identify something. Mark Schlereth kept talking about it in the broadcast. Run to the right, run to the right, run to the right, right? And it's like, all right, I'm noticing that too. we don't do a lot of inside zone. It's either outside or gap scheme, right? And it's like, yo, if we run this inside toss, I might be able to do something with this. 53 yards right out the gate, right? Because you notice the weakness. Now, to actually go to them and say that, suggest it, and then they do it is something entirely different. So I'm not saying that it's one of those things to me, like when you are able to watch that back on tape and exploit those, different parts of the defense or whatever, like you can build onto your current game plan to say, okay, well, we don't really do this right now, but it's something we should strongly consider, right? And so to me, that's strong. I mean, 23 attempts to get to, what was it? 206 yards off of 23 attempts. That to me is when you're being bullish with the run. The run's got to be working for you to be bullish with it. But sometimes the way you run is important, right? So like, this is fascinating to me. I think that Rico makes a strong case for why he could be RB1. Now, again, you paid Chuba the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some obligation there, right? And I'm not trying to write Chuba off because Chuba has been bell cow for us. But I think we can all agree. I haven't looked at the chat. I'll look at it in a second and talk to you guys a little bit more. But this was different. This was absolutely different. So I'll go to the latest comments and then come back. Yeah, Mitchell Evans getting his second TD on the season too. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Palmetto Panther says, we got a good backfield. Let's keep toting the rock and playing stout against the run. We will be fine. I need some glasses. My wife saw me doing this, man. She'd be upset. Yo, shout out to my dog. What up, man? PPP. Happy Victory Monday. Yes, sir. Shout out to SC Panther Boy. Willie Smith, my moderator in the building. What's up, man? Good to see you. My ma Elliot Brooks in the building. What up, man? Ain't seen you in a minute. Good to see you, brother. Yes, sir. I'm telling you, man, this is, hey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate that. For sure. I sound like Bryce. Hey, for sure. I'm going to start scratching the arm, too. I'm like, hey, for sure. But, nah, I'm going to stop, man. But, yeah, I mean, this is just something different. And I love when you see something different, right? Here's something else that was different. We got to go back to this again. Evero was in his bag, man. Like, I mean, look, it's easy, low-hanging fruit. But he was in his bag. And I feel like, when this kind of stuff happens, man, you just got to give him his flowers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hit or miss. It's up and down. And I know some people be like, man, like I'll get these comments from time to time. And I want to, we're going to talk about something that's at the very end of the show. Something that was popular last week as far as fandom is concerned. But like, I'll speak to some of it right now. I'm a fanatic. I said that before. I heard Lo mention that. If Lo, if you're in the building, salute to you, bro. I know you're probably working, so you can't really comment, but I know you're watching. Man, fan is short for fanatic. I'ma always be a fanatic. There's something to be mad about and excited about every single time you watch a game, right? And I'm gonna react to it all. We only get 17 of these. For us, we don't get 18, 19, 20, and possibly 21, or 20 and 21, if you will, if depending on where you are in the division, 19, 20, and 21. So we get 17 opportunities to do this a year. And then the rest of it goes back to draft stuff. And I ain't no draft nerd like some of these guys, man. I bring on some of the best, in my opinion. Some of the biggest names in our space, in my opinion. Real ball watcher, big name. Jared Feinberg, big name. You know what I'm saying? Guys that really like, they bleed this. You know what I'm saying? Like they do this. On my end, it's the fanaticism. It's overreacting when you see something like what you saw yesterday. I said this. I said, I felt like yesterday, and to the Ivera point, I feel like yesterday was a more meaningful victory than the 30-0 against the Falcons. Why? Because you showed resilience. Man, they could have easily, after that turnover, the second one, they could have easily gave up. Mailed it in. Man, we're not going to be able to do nothing. But they didn't. They fought. And I love to see that. And your rookies fought. One in particular that, like, look, yeah, Darren Waller gave up, they gave up a big play to Darren Waller. It appears that Trevin Wallace was asleep at the wheel. After that, showed up, right? But there's another person that was helping to cover as well. And I thought this was fascinating. Corey Thornton. Man, seeing Corey throw, like, I remember the preseason game watching him lined up at nickel. I was like, that's interesting. You don't make plays like he made in the first 2 preseason games at outside corner, and they line you up at nickel to see what you can do because your impact is so impactful. We got to see it in real time. Shal Smith-Wade down, you get your opportunity. Whew. If you're bringing pressure like that, if you can simulate pressure, right, and you get pressure with 4, shout out to Derrick Brown, or you get pressure with the blitz. Either way it goes, that's a secondary you don't want to face. I don't know what our PFF grades are and all of the stats and stuff like that. I know this. From an eye test perspective, that looks like one of the best secondaries in the league. Like, and you add him into that fold, not saying that you should, get rid of Shal Smith-Wade, not saying that at all. But you add him into that fold and it creates an entirely different animal. So, yeah, salute to him. Hey, I'm going to tell you somebody else, man. Look, if I pulled the PFF grades, they're awful. They're beyond awful. But, again, when someone is showing you more than what they've showed you before, you got to show love to some degree. Salute to Christian Roseboom, man. I mean, hey, it was tough. But look, bro showed up. Bro showed up yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Led the team in tackles, 9 tackles, 5 solo, 1 for loss, or I think he had a tackle for loss, big time tackle for loss, right? So, hey man, and this isn't the first time, right? It's just when it's bad, it's really bad. Like when it's bad, it's the worst. But hey, in this situation, especially against a high-powered offense, I mean, my man Tua, 75% completion percentage, still slinging the rock. But what you did to them against the run, if you can take away the run, especially for a team that doesn't have a dynamic weapon like Tyreek Hill, you take the run away from them, it completely changes everything. It completely changes the game. Shout out to Super Chat from Ian. Appreciate you, Ian. Ian says, our rookie class is starting to show up. Absolutely. I think the rookie class has been showing up from off gate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying I don't want to be hyperbolic, too much hyperbolic. Like, I do exist in hyperbole land. Y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? If you've been watching me long enough, you know I can stack it up with the best of us as far as, like, optimism, right? But I do think that this could be, you're starting to argue with, hopefully, this being one of your better classes in your franchise's history, top to bottom. I mean, Mitchell Evans yesterday, man. Mitchell Evans actually is the 3rd ranked. Now, this is not counting this game. And, of course, you got to take snaps into consideration. But Mitchell Evans has the 3rd highest PFF grade of any tight end in football right now. That's significant, right? So, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys, when you get an opportunity and your number is called, how do you respond, right? I think that's important. That's better than anything that we could hope for. So I want to go back and respond to some of these comments. I appreciate y'all joining me this morning, commenting so far. We got a lot of comments in here that I haven't had a chance to respond to, so I'll try to get back to some of them. C3 Doug, what's up, man? Justin May says maybe he was folding under pressure of the green dot and getting the play out. Possibly, I don't know that necessarily was his role with the Rams, and I don't know what his role. Christian Roseman came in to San Francisco, right? To Kansas City. So I'm not really sure what his role was there. Maybe it was just special teams only, but either way, who knows? Hampton Howie said, I need to see it against good teams consistently to be excited, but I love my team regardless. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, for me, like the excitement, like you got 2 types of fans, right? You have fans that are like us, the nutcases, right? The guys that do content, the guys that watch content, the guys that come to shows and talk on shows and stuff like that, right? I'm not saying it about you because I don't know, who you are, but appreciate you being over here. But the point is that you have multiple different types of fans. The majority of fans, the 80% of fans, man, they just show up for the vibes, man. You know what I'm saying? They go into the games, drinking, having a good time. The roar and riot, right? They want to see you win, but at the same time, they always gonna be excited for the, for the product. Then you got guys like me. I'm irrational. I'm always gonna look at something positive, and then sometimes I'm gonna go completely negative. And I'll talk about that in a second. Like I went mad negative yesterday, right? But it's okay. Let's see. Cameron Davis says defense took a little bit, but they're slow to getting it together. Yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no, because it's like, it's so hit or miss, right? Against Arizona, they started off kind of slow, but you're going to do that when you turn the ball over like crazy, right? And so they fought, we had a chance to win it at the end, right? And then obviously getting trounced by New England. I think that's just what they're going to have to figure out. And I'm glad we got Dallas at home next week. But what they're really going to have to figure out is like the mentality of how they prepare when they go on the road. Because I don't think it's a necessary like they're not showing up issue. I really think it's just like, when we travel, like, you know how it is, man. You got kids, and this is a young team. I ain't trying. These are grown men. Don't get me wrong. And there's some vets on the team. But like, man, when you got kids, man, like the whole setup is different when you go on the road. You know what I'm saying? And you do stuff with your family. So yeah, man. Trey Willis said DB and BY told him after the second turnover. Oh, we're going to talk about that. QT0 says Roseboom did his thing against the run. Yes, he did. Justin Mabe said Roseboom was wearing the green dot yesterday. Wasn't wearing the green dot. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Miss Douglas said Roseboom was balling. Couldn't agree more. All right. So let's get back to it. T Green, what's up? Let's see. Who else was in here? There was somebody else that I didn't really get to. Okay. Canales has to prioritize the run going forward. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that what he has to do is not be like – yesterday was a good microcosm. Now, I will say this. You do have to prioritize the run more, but you prioritize the run when it's working, right? And sometimes you do have to pivot. Unfortunately, like there was a few times in the last few games that he had to pivot because the run game was non-existent, right? But in those games still, there was a few times where we did see Rico kind of, hey, get it going. So, like I said, I'm not the guy to try to knock Chuba Hubbard, out of, his spot or whatever like that. But I do think that you found something there. So it is interesting, to say the least. But salute to you guys, man. I appreciate you being here. We got 167 people watching between two platforms. Only 31 likes. Come on, y'all. It's free. Hit that like button for your boy. Appreciate it. All right. So, all right, man. Let's get to it. I gave Avero his flowers. I gave, everybody their flowers. Bryce overcomes the turnovers. Yesterday was fantastic, man. I mean, like I said, I have some of the most fun in this entire, part of my fandom that I have such a good time with is just being able to react to things in real time. You know what I'm saying? And, overreact. And yesterday I had an overreaction, probably for the first time. I've come on platform before and had my feelings about Bryce, and obviously y'all know what it is with me, man. Like, if you go comb back through my library, man, you know what time it is when it comes to BY. You know what I'm saying? But lately I kind of been having a little bit, more stronger takes, when it comes to BY. And then yesterday I went off the rails. I actually called for Bryce Young to be benched. I did. I actually said, bench time. You know what I'm saying? It's been a good story because you cannot turn the ball over this much and expect to have any kind of meaningful success. You cannot. And then he makes this crazy play to Mac, and then he throws the fade behind the defender around the corner to XL, something that they practice multiple times. And salute to XL, man. Big time comeback for you. You deserve that. XL has been the punching bag for the entire fan base. And I'm not going to say it didn't come without a reason, right? When all the stuff you do in the offseason and stuff like that, and then it looks like you come into the season unprepared, you know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of lacking. Yeah, of course. But I'm glad that it kind of drove you. You could hear in his voice, like, even when they asked him, like, people were really pretty upset about this, too, when they asked him, like, did you learn anything? He's like, no, I ain't learned nothing. What you mean? Like, what was I supposed to learn? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just ready. I'm like, all right, big bro, well, we going to see. And clearly he was, so salute to him. But just seeing throws like that, man, like, it's just like, and I said this, and salute to Xavier Supreme on X, man, because he retweeted me again this morning. I just hadn't had a chance to respond to it because I was prepping for the show. I said, man, and look, I know y'all be like, Jay, sometimes you be slip of the tongue. I'm slipping of the tongue right now. I'm going to say, I said, man, this little nigga be driving me crazy, man. And I know y'all probably feel the same way because I'm like, man, dog. I mean, it's so Jekyll and Hyde sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not Jekyll and Hyde of the persuasion of like, hey man, he'll make a bad play or he'll make he'll fumble or something like that, and it'll be like routine, like game managing type of stuff. No, it'll be like fumble, interception, and then make a throw that maybe 3 other quarterbacks in the NFL can make. And it's just like, dog, where's the consistency? But you know what? Somebody said something in the chat already. Sometimes you flip a switch, and the switch was flipped. When he made the comment to Derek Brown walking to the sideline, I think it was a defensive stop or maybe right after the pick. I don't know right off the top of my head. Y'all can correct me in the chat, right? But he made the comment. He's like, hey, get it back to me and we'll go. You know what I'm saying? That's strong. Like, that's a different level. I don't know what all they say on the sidelines because we don't get to hear everything. I like that they did put out the audio yesterday of, after they won, when they was getting ready to be victory formation, you could hear them. And it's like, oh, okay. So there's some emotion there, right? Because sometimes it does look a little bit too stoic, right? But, man, I was glad to see that. I'm glad that you had enough confidence in yourself to go say that to them because you're going to make mistakes. I heard a clip yesterday from Nick Saban. He was talking about Mac Jones. He said, man, he called Mac Jones John McEnroe. He was like, man, this guy, he'll throw a pick, get the cussing, going crazy, all that kind of stuff. He's like, hey, man, you cannot do that. You cannot play quarterback and be this up and down with your emotions. You have to stay level because that's just going to be the position. You have to be okay if you make a mistake for your teammates to look at you sideways. You got to be okay for an exorbitant amount of praise, even when you feel like you don't really deserve it, right? Because I'm sure Bryce walks away from that game yesterday excited, no doubt, right? They came back and they won, right? 200-yard rushing effort. And not for nothing, because I know it would be easy for everybody to be like, well, they won in spite of him. Yes and no. He made some throws that were very important. I think the one that really sparked the comeback was that off-platform throw to T-Mac, because then it was like, okay, now we got something. Let's roll, right? But every play shouldn't have to be that. That's the thing that drives you so crazy. And really the thing is, man, is like, and this is I don't know, like, I'm not an expert, but I only watch what I watch and see what I see. I think that there are limitations to what he does, not so much from an arm strength perspective. It's mainly the feet. Like when he threw that pick to XL, man, like it was stepping up in the pocket, but his feet were literally like placed together. I went back and watched different throws from Bryce Young. I watched the throw in the Denver game to Jalen Coker on the sideline, right? I watched the throw to Xavier Legette, him climbing the ladder against the Saints last year, right, to win that game. I watched the last throw that he made to Adam Thielen against Kansas City to put them in scoring position to tie the game to potentially go into overtime and have a chance to win it. You know what I'm saying? And even some of the off-platform stuff, like that's where, he really like thrives. But I'm talking more of the stuff when the pocket is muddy and you got to step in, stand in, and make a throw. And when you watch his base on every single one of those throws that I just mentioned, wide base, foot planted, throwing a strike, dead accurate. What Bryce does that makes him such a magician, is the fact that he can do that kind of stuff from an accuracy perspective off platform, right? That's what makes him different. But the stuff that makes you different is not the consistency that wins NFL games. It's the stuff that you can do that will help you to move the chains in otherwise situations that you couldn't. Because there was a couple of times last week, even in that New England loss, man, where like Milton Williams was right in his face. And if he doesn't move around and do what he does best, like that play turns into a sack, right? Or worse, like we saw yesterday. So sometimes those things are incredible and you need that. But what happens when it's more structured? I mean, this was just routine. There was nobody around him. Stepping up in the pocket, feet clicking together, standing statuesque. No wide base, just kind of sailing one, and then you throw a pick right after a fumble. And it's just like, dog. The difference between those who do and who don't is consistency. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell this to people all the time. You wouldn't believe how many messages or, friends I get. Yo, man, like, how can I start a podcast? Easy. Like, open a Gmail account and start a YouTube channel. I don't care if you're doing it from your phone. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. Whatever you do, even if it's not going well in the beginning, and we'll talk about that a little bit further in a second. If it's not going well so much in the beginning, it doesn't really matter. Like, what people love more than they love anything else is consistency. How often am I seeing you? You know what I'm saying? I know that for myself. As a person who has like health issues and all kind of stuff like that, modeling consistency is what makes you great. Not if you can do it one or two times, big time. Like, oh, great. He led the league in quote unquote big time throws. All right, cool. Well, what is he doing when the pocket is muddy? You know what I'm saying? Because I watch shorter guys like yesterday, Baker Mayfield, watching him. I mean, the base is the same every time. 1, 2, 3, hitch, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like back foot planted, steep. It don't matter if I'm going to take a sack. If I got to move around, my feet are consistent every single time. But how do you change that when he has done this to get to this point? Hey, dog, I want a Heisman doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want a Heisman. I was the number 1 ranked quarterback in high school. I want a title at modern day. How hard is that to do? Or easy, I should say, right? I've been doing this for a long time. How y'all gonna come in and try to change what makes me me? I don't know, but I know this. If you want to get consistent moving the ball down the field, you got to implement it into your game. And that's so hard to do in real time. You can't do that during the season. It has to be done. That's why I was telling, and Brad will be joining me soon. I was telling Brad the other day on the phone, I'm like, man, if this thing with Bryce don't work out, I think where he goes and what he does, like if it's not here and ultimately it's somewhere else, I think the whole, like, I guess the Shanahan college, if you will, right? Now, I think an offense like that wide zone, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, kind of hybrid West Coast offense where it's a lot of quick underneath stuff and you know, you're relying on your receivers to get you yak. They're kind of doing some of that stuff here, right? But, like, if you go to a place like that, like they have, it's not just the receivers and stuff like that. It's like the gap schemes, it's the zones, it's all that kind of stuff offensively that makes that system so quarterback friendly. And a guy like Bryce, that's what he does best, that kind of point guard, dumping it off here, dumping it off there, and then taking the shot only when you need to, right? And so I do think that a lot of what they're doing here is implementing that same kind of thing. But I also think that what could help him tremendously, but unfortunately he doesn't have the option of being able to do, is literal over and over and over and over again. Like, no, do it again. Like, I don't know if any of you have seen the Kurt Warner movie, right? Underdog Story. But when he was training for the CFL or Arena Football League, it was, right? He was training for the AFL. And it was like, the guy kept telling him, like, hey, man, you got to get it out quicker. Get the ball out quicker. Get the ball out quicker. Hitch, boom, go. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they just done that over and over and over again. Now, in a league like the AFL, there's not a ton of visibility. You don't have a lot of media pressure and all the other kind of stuff or big-time fan pressure. I mean, you got the obligation of your team, right? So you can get away with, like, learning kind of on the fly like that. But in the NFL, man, with all the pressure of being a number 1 overall pick, you know what I'm saying? Like, year 3 on a team that has literally had no success for going on 8 years now, it's like, man, it's hard to learn that in real time. And many of us would be like, yo, dog, like, this is something that you felt like should have been practiced in the offseason. But just like I talked about with Sam Darnold some years ago, when the feet weren't married to the route, like, you get habits built in you internally. Malcolm Gladwell got the Outliers book, 10,000 hours of practice to help you reach mastery. You know what I'm saying? In anything, even a bad habit. You and I know this. You spend enough time doing something. For all my Bible people out there, I'm about to get a little deep for a second, right? Romans chapter 1. God said, hey, you doing this, you know, I will give you over to these things that you continue to keep doing because it'll just become a natural part of you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fought, right? There was a couple of times where, you know, Conor doing pretty well because, you know, he was more known as a boxer anyway. Well, there was a few times when he would grab him, and what Conor started doing? Trying to hit him on top of the head. Yo, dog, you're not this ain't MMA. You know what I'm saying? But tell his body that. Like, you have practiced that forever. When I'm in dangerous situations, pound you on top of the head to try to help you know, hey, get off me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of muscle memory doesn't just go away. So if your whole thing has been drifting backwards, we talked about this with Gruden. I saw many of you talking about how, you know, John Gruden should be the Panthers' next coach. Well, I can tell you this. If he is, that whole spiel that Bryce gave him about, like, why I put my right foot back as opposed to the left, that's going out the window. Because that, to me, that might be impeding the fact, like, yeah, it works for you wide base when it's quick game, but what about if you got to take a shot down the field? The drifting stuff. Like, John said it. hey, it's working for you. You got me believing you. And you know what I'm saying? Like, even me, I clipped it, made a video about it, because if it's working for you, it's working. But when it don't work, man, it's bad. It's bad. You know what I'm saying? When it doesn't work. But hey, he pulled it together yesterday. He made it work. Salute to Bryce. You know, I'm glad that he was able to turn it around, and, you know, despite, you know, what happened, you know, in the beginning with those 2 turnovers, you know, turn it around. But more importantly, even the defense, you know, Miami scored off both of those turnovers, 3 and 7, right? And you could just tell in the beginning, it just appeared like, here we go again, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, yo, you cannot do this. To get down 17-0, it felt like the game was over. But they dig deep, they found something, and they believe in each other. Despite what I say, what we say, they believe. And if they believe, then that's more important than anything I got to say, or anything you got to say, if I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, I mean, this was tough. This was a tough watch in the beginning, and then it turned into, you know, mastery. And I love that. You know, I love seeing that. So, salute to the real. Anyway, let's get to some of these comments. Ken88 says we got to beat the Cowgirls. Yes, we do. Schedule does get tough now. Yes. Yes, it does. Popping. Good win. Yes, indeed, my brother. Yes, indeed. Not going to lie, while being a fan in the stands, was it Mike Jack's fault on the tutty or over-the-top safety, Scott? I guess that's why SC said that there's no safety in the play. I didn't see a safety in the play, but I also know that it seems to me like there was a moment where Mike Jack had a little bit of an injury or something like that, or like I don't know if he hit his knee, turned his ankle or something like that. But from my understanding, this may have been a situation where there was I think he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that's not an excuse, obviously, but I want to say that there was something that impeded that. So I can't be accurate. I'm not completely accurate on that, but yeah. He did 48 Laws of Power too. No, that was Malcolm Gladwell is Outliers. 48 Laws of Power is Robert Greene. But yes, same type of, same energy. Yeah, big time. So our fan base better help secure the bank. I agree. Robert Greene. No, wait. Outliers is Robert. I thought Outliers was Malcolm Gladwell. I could be wrong on that. Y'all you might be right, QT. My bad. But anyway, just going through Flags Black and Blue. Seeing if I missed anybody. Okay, Black and Blue said QBs that were written off had similar issues to Bryce. Maturity and patient coaching turned around Baker, Darnold, and Jones, and even Goff. All were once painful to watch. I couldn't agree more. That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to be careful how you speak on guys, man. You never know when, they'll get a situation that'll help them. Now, obviously, a guy like Geno is struggling right now, but I don't know that offense, I don't watch a lot of the Raiders to know whether that offense is suitable for what he does, to fit his skill set. But, yeah, I mean, that game between Sam Darnold, I didn't watch it, but I saw the stat line afterwards. Man, crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got to be careful, with how you treat people, in situations like that, because you never know what can happen. And we've been the butt of a lot of jokes this week, man. It's been bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone had asked Baker Mayfield in the press conference, like, hey, man, how do you feel about your time in Carolina? And he was like, about the great, wonderful time in Carolina. He's like, I wouldn't call it that, right? And I mean, Baker gonna say what he got to say. We got killed, man. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Like, I know a lot of y'all was supporting what we had to say. But, when me and Brad went on our little rant about Baker Mayfield in week 2 after that live, and, when he said that about Wilkes, which I still don't agree with, I had clipped that and made a separate video from it, and we got smoked in the comments, dog. So I don't know where y'all was at, man, but y'all should have came through and helped your boy out. But I don't care, because, I'm going to say what I got to say, man. It's whatever. So, yeah, anyway. Anywho's. Ransom had a bad day. He almost had that pick. He almost had that pick. He had a bad day? Agree about this game being better than the ATL game due to the resilience. So great to see them pick up themselves and get it together. I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, it's tough. It is very difficult to overcome, especially when you've seen this over and over again. This ain't a new thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see this something happening, constantly like this. This becomes a very tough thing to overcome. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I was glad to see that, they made the resilient move and, working hard and, getting back into it and really believing in one another. And I do wonder if possibly, the way that Bryce talked to Derek Brown and, maybe they just felt like, all right, well, he said it, so let's believe him and let's go do it. Because it's easy to mail it in, when you've experienced losing like this. But a lot of these young guys haven't experienced that. You know what I'm saying? So they only know what they know, right? So 214 people watching between two platforms, man. Y'all make sure to smash that like for your boy. Let's get it up to 100, man. But joining me right now, friend of the show. I wouldn't say friend of the show at this point. This is the king of Watauga County, the king, the heir to the governmental throne. My boy Invisible Brad. What's up, bro?
Glad to be here on Victory Monday, sponsored by the Roughnecks. Rico's Roughnecks.
Hey, I started the show off with Rico with the Drake and Meat. Yes, sir.
Everyone fights. No one quits.
Absolutely.
Do your job, or I'll take care of you myself. Do you get me? We get you, sir.
Yes, sir. So
Welcome to the Roughnecks.
Talk about it, man. I don't know if you heard this audio. I'm gonna read the super chat first, and I'm gonna play some audio for you real quick. And a salute to my moderator, Willie, man. Appreciate the super chat, $4.99. He says it's a team effort. Talk about the offensive line and the defensive line. The team came back and won. Can't Panther fans be happy? Hey, man, I couldn't agree with you more. Panther Gal 73 says lay off XL unless he starts dropping a bunch. I agree with that too. Hey, you get your flowers on this side, right? But yeah, I couldn't agree more. But Brad, I want to play something for you real quick. So Rico Dout called his own shot, man. He was asked by Vashti from Carolina Blitz about this play, in particular, the toss that resulted in a 53-yard gain. I'm going to play this real quick. Tell me what you think.
The first run out of halftime, I actually told Coach Brad to call that when it was the toss play to the right. I went to him in the second quarter and asked him could he call that play, and I think it was the first. It's an inside zone play. They never ran inside zone here, but I asked him could he run that one too, and it was a positive game. He came up to me after the game and was like, "Just tell me which runs you want to run." Coming out meeting, yeah.
So you called that one?
I asked him. I didn't call it. They actually called it. But I asked him could he call it. Yeah.
They didn't call it. I asked him, could he call it? They don't run inside zone here. They ran an inside zone play for me. Thoughts?
Well, we always think of these guys, as players, more so, students of the game. And these guys understand what's going on, too. I mean, you can tell I've only been to one, but I've been to a lot of college camps and seen players run their own camps, back in their own hometowns, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are students of the game. Like, they understand this team. I mean, before the game, Rico was saying, listen, if we can't run the ball against the Miami Dolphins, who had issues stopping the run, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And in saying that, he, broke down, like, here's where we can run, here's where we get things done. And so, hey, he saw it, and he was like, look, give me a chance. I mean, it's one play.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to have seen that and to know what was coming up, to know where those weaknesses were, and to get on one accord with the coaching staff and get that kind of result, that's just big time.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think it just speaks to – now let me ask you this, because when he said that, there's something that automatically popped in my head. Look, I ain't trying to hate. I ain't trying to start nothing. I'm just asking questions. That's it. I just be talking. I just be talking. But you think Chuba would have ever done something like that?
I mean, I don't know. Chuba seems to be a vocal guy. If you look at a lot of the video and listen to a lot of the audio around like Panthers social media, he's always in the middle of the team breaking it down before, after the game. He's always in the pictures near Bryce, near
Mm-hmm.
Canales. During the summer, all the head-to-head stuff with Bryce Young and J.C. Horn. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
Chuba wasn't far behind. So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't imagine that he would ask for certain things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would more so ask the question, do you think he could have done that? Because one thing, we talked about last night, man, Chuba's a hard runner, but
Mm-hmm.
Chuba's small, and it's hard to envision him being a bell cow back. I know a lot of people were angry about signing his extension,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing I was looking to see or hear was you can't sign him to this kind of deal because of his stature. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Rico broke a lot of tackles yesterday.
Yes, he did.
And
Yes,
I
he
don't
did.
know if any of those runs, minus the 53-yarder where he just broke out and barely got touched, if Chuba can break those tackles and make those runs.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it. If we're going to go into that, or talking about, starters or how playing time is going to be divided, how snaps are going to be, divvied out going forward,
Mm-hmm.
you got to look at the broken tackles. Because some of those guys were in position, some of those guys were making arm tackles, but either way, he made a miss.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
I see Chuba getting pulled down a lot by one arm, drugged down, on non-hip tackles. It's not just that, they were picking on Kenneth Grant running to the right side yesterday, which, inside the numbers, 171 yards rushing to the right side, the most since Ward Dunn did it for 175.
Let's go.
Um,
Yes, sir.
you got to take a look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And my hope is that we'll get, some of the recourse we've gotten over the past couple of weeks of changes, both on offense and defense,
Yeah.
to snap counts pertaining to guys who perform better.
Hey, let me read this comment real quick. This is from my man. What's up, Doug? What's happening, Doug? Good to see you this morning. Says, what's going on, my guy, John? Yes, it's Victory Monday, but we haven't seen this team have a complete game on both sides of the ball yet. Just think when everything clicks, what could happen. Hey, this is a step in the right direction. But go ahead, Brad.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like the comments that, Chuba was a culture signing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, I do kind of push back a little against maybe like he wouldn't have said, like, let me do this play, but I'm sure he's saying, like, these are the things that work.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that about him being a culture signing, because the thing is, he is a guy who works.
Mm-hmm.
Every article you see, they talk about Chuba stayed later on Tuesday and, worked with the jugs machine. Chuba stayed late on Wednesday, you know what I mean, and went over formations with Bryce Young. So, I mean, I do like, I said, that culture signing. But, hey, man, I mean, as far as team sports go, when you get a guy that's just better, you got to go with the guy that's better.
Couldn't agree more. Let me ask you this question. So I posed this to you last night. I looked at, like just opportunities and, I'm not saying from an opportunity perspective that it's the same. It's not a wash. I feel like we don't know what Rico was because he was buried behind, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard for, many years, right? And so he had flashes in moments. But is it possible that this could be your Marshawn from Buffalo to Seattle kind of situation where, because I mean, they're pretty much like, Marshawn was faster, no doubt. He was a little bit more elusive. But they have a lot of a similar skill set, right? Like they both can catch out of the backfield. They're both, brutal, like bruiser running backs, right? Like, is it possible that like this is one of those? Because I mean, even in the times where he was sharing, carries over the last couple of games, man, there was a few carries that you'd be like, man, nobody else, no other running back on this team is making that. Like you can't do that because of his size and strength. So is it possible that they just like negate, I guess, conventional approach that they've had where it's like they're going to play their veteran guys. They're also going to play, and Chuba's Rico's a veteran, not for nothing, but like they're going to be loyal to the guys that they're loyal to. and you think they kind of go back, because we've seen that happen before. There's been other, instances where this has happened in the past. But then again, man, when you get something like this could be, Alfred Morris's, year with Washington back in 2013. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like you just catch lightning in a bottle with a guy that really was better than what, it was projected that he would be based on his opportunity. And to me, it just feels like this is one, especially if he does this against Dallas, man, I don't see how you go back. I really don't. I think he's your starting running back. And I'm not saying go back. You're still going to use Chuba, right? No doubt. But it just feels like Rico's one of those guys that's like a rhythm guy. Like, you got to give me multiple carries. If this is what y'all really want to do, if you really want to be bullish with the run, then this is what it's going to take.
Well, yeah, because, the first few weeks of the season, we saw him in spot duty have a couple decent runs. But it's like you said, when you have a rhythm guy, and this is the thing with bigger running backs, the defense. Here's the thing. I mean, Chuba, somebody put, Chuba does break tackles. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But to the effect of.
Don't they, though? I'm sorry. I just had to say this. I keep seeing the stuff in the chat about trade, and then Miss Douglas said, y'all love to trade people. But go ahead. Shout out to Miss Rand.
You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
But you got to understand, man, as a defender, tackling a bigger running back is always going to be in your mind more so than tackling a smaller back. So when you have a guy like Rico get that 6-7 yard run, and then you immediately come back with Chuba, and he goes to the sideline. So yesterday, I mean, he was able to get the 4-yard run, then the 7-yard run, then a 15-yard run. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was able to stay in that rhythm, and then they're thinking, hey, he's coming. Next play. Next play. And so we go back to our most dominant run performance before this, and that was Deontay Foreman and Chuba against the Lions. And, Chuba ate in that game, but a large part of that damage was Deontay Foreman hitting him in the mouth. So I'm with you. I'm not saying we completely, annex Chuba from the equation, but I feel like if we start off with Rico with this downhill running attack, then when you do bring Chuba in, it'll be more beneficial to him.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I was looking that up while you were talking about it. I wanted to see look at that game specifically. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can find it. I'll get to it another time. We'll pull it up later. But, I did look at this earlier. I saw PFF grades, and we'll get back to what we're talking about in just a second. And, like, some of these guys, man, I mean, it's ugly, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, to come into this game, Bryce is 25th out of 36 quarterbacks, as far as PFF grade is concerned. And, I mean, I know some people are like, man, don't take – PFF is not the gospel. Like, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, PFF is a it is a analytical driven, data machine that tells you like what you've done on the field compared to the field. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just rankings, and more or less. And so, yeah, I mean, you come into this game, like there's a lot of people low on this list. I mean, shout out to T-Mac, 17th out of 118 receivers. That's huge. Shout out to Hunter Renfrow, 90. Well, I wouldn't say that so much. Bryson Tremaine.
Shout out to,
yeah. I mean, but Rico, Rico upped his value. He upped it up. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Rico was like 45th or 46th coming into this game. And now he's like 32nd out of 46. And that's, a game withstanding tonight, that could drop that a bit. But Chuba Hubbard was 15th out of 46 in PFF grade. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that comes from the fact that, like the run and receiving grade is a little bit different, for Chuba. But, I don't know. I know people are talking about trade and everything like that. Like, nah, I think you can figure out, because the one thing that Rico exposed was what he said about they don't do that here, right? So now you might have found, when I say you found something, it's not so much that you found something different with Rico necessarily from the play, because yes, that goes without saying, but you also potentially found something different in terms of how you can call it. So now I can add this as an element to the, offensive game plan, because yeah, if we don't run a lot of inside zone, but we got a back that understands it well, why wouldn't you do it? Because that in that inside-outside zone, you can do so many different things. And not for nothing, Willie said it. Salute to the offensive line. Yo, there was a play, and I want to say this was on the 53-yard run, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm not going to pull film because I ain't trying to get clipped. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure it was this run. Brady Christensen, Cade Mays, doubling up on one player. Another guy, it looks like one of the ends kind of crashes the gap. Brady Christensen immediately comes off of his assignment. Boom, goes directly over to that guy. Let me get some work over here. Get him out the way. Wide open running lane. I saw that one other time. Not long ago. Or some years ago, I should say. Brady Christensen as a rookie. Deontay Brown, I believe it was. Big tackle that we had taken from Alabama. Didn't really work out. Had issues with his weight, all kind of stuff like that. But we were playing Indianapolis in the preseason. A very similar situation. Brady Christensen, I believe, is playing guard. Deontay is playing right tackle or vice versa, right? Ball is snapped. They double team on one side. Chuba runs to the side that they were opposite of, right? Because it was kind of a zone play. And they literally come back over, boom, move some guys out of the way to mow some land open for Chuba to break off for it was like a 40 or 50-yard run in the preseason, right? That is championship level football. It's instinctual. And this guy, look, we talked about this, Brad. Brady Christensen should have been your guy in rotation. If you're going to tell me all these great things about Brady in the offseason, then I don't care that he's the backup center, right? I get it. I understand the need for it. But you can't tell me and sell me all these great things about Brady and then him not get opportunity behind guys like Yosh Nijman. You know what I'm saying? I can't live with that, especially after what you saw yesterday.
Well, I mean, it kind of was puzzling to hear when they, called out the starters yesterday, and Mark Schlereth said Brady Christensen, he's their best offensive lineman, and I was like, wait, what?
Who would know that better than a 3-time Super Bowl winning offensive lineman?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, did he say that correctly?
Right.
And yesterday he looked like it. I mean, dude, by the end of the game, they were tackling him so he couldn't get to the second level. And what I mean, just briefly say what I mean, I talk about second level is you talk about the combo blocks. You know what I'm saying? When you initially start your block, which is, the double team with Cade Mays, and then you combo off of that, and then you block a linebacker, and then by the time the running back's hitting the hole, you're boxing out the basically last player that can make the play on that side of the field, which is the safety.
Mm-hmm.
That's all pro. I wouldn't say Hall of Fame, but that's all pro guard play. And I understand, like you said, he is the backup to literally every position on the line.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't not let a guy get playing time, get snapped.
Exactly.
And keep that kind of production off the field because you're scared somebody might get hurt.
Cannot. And not only that, go sign somebody. Look, I get it. And not for nothing, Austin Corbett. Salute to you, bro. There's a great role that we have for you assigned, and it's called backup guard. You know what I'm saying? I understand the money. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know the contract is what it is. I know Cade Mays is, a young player and everything like that. But, hey, yo, dog, I'm sorry. You are officially my backup center, my backup guard, whatever, cleanup opportunity is necessary. I'm sorry. There's no way I can go back to you after what we just saw the past couple of weeks. And look, it ain't perfect. I'm not saying Cade Mays is, there's a couple times in pass blocking where he sold a little bit. But, it's better than what you've seen. You know what I'm saying? Brady Christensen, better than what we've seen. So, yeah, I think the order is fixed. I'll just say that.
Yeah. And Corbett, he's a little older. I feel like you can re-sign him to be a depth piece, just not the starter. You know what I mean? He has injury issues. Same with Zavala. We could potentially keep Zavala his entire career on backup money. And then also, like I always say, Rome wasn't built in a day. Listen, you got drafts coming up. Continue to add those depth pieces.
Yeah.
But getting back to the PFF thing, I mean, it's like we were saying before about, PFF being, just a ranking system that, normally isn't that important. It's just kind of something, we just can look at and be like, okay, here are the grades.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best systems for evaluating players, specifically during the season and during individual games.
Yeah.
But for us, as the Panthers in our analytics department, it's huge because we have a huge part of our talent evaluation and drafting strategy banking on, the ideas of guys who used to work for PFF.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at it, it has a different context.
It's got a different look. Yeah, it's got a different feel. Hey, and salute to my man Poppin. He said Renfro just lost his snaps to Hemi Horn. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But yeah, you're right, man. It's a framework by which you can, create opportunities and, really evaluate your roster from. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to be analytic driven, then yeah, you're going to use resources like this to, to make decisions, right? And I mean, to some degree, everybody's doing that. The eye test is important too. And that's where we really going to find out, like, we really about to find out what Dave Canales is made of as a head coach. Because you got some real tough decisions to make. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to make it's you that has to make the call. The Commanders are down on the field. They popping shots off. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what are we doing? Are we marching forward, or is the brigade coming in and shooting rockets from the sky? You know what I'm saying? You don't want us to die if we march forward. So you got to make the call. It's on you. So, like, what are we doing? When Chuba comes back healthy from the calf, is he back to, getting the lion's share of the carries? Or is it Rico? When Austin Corbett comes back off of his 6 to 8 week hiatus, what are we doing? Is he coming back for center play? Is he coming back to be a guard? Are you moving Brady Christensen out of the way, even if he plays well, down the stretch? So there's some tough decisions that need to be made soon.
Well, I mean, and that's what I was talking about yesterday with a guy like Canales being young and us having our growing pains with him. Because, people so quickly forget that, these Super Bowl winning, great guru coaches that, we've come to respect over the years, a lot of them started in a position on a team, took their lumps, were fired, came back as a coordinator,
mm-hmm.
and then came back. So they're growing, they're learning. I've seen a lot of people ask, why would the coaches not know or not run a play that, Rico called out? I mean, you got to understand, these guys don't lack for confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And when you become a head coach, or when you become a coach, period, you have your philosophy, even if it's, little league to high school to junior high, college, like, you have your philosophy. One of the greatest coaches ever, John Wooden, his philosophy boiled down to, we're going to do what we're going to do, and they're going to have to react to it because we're going to do what we do so well.
Period.
So there are things, yeah, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and to this day, no one's won the kind of championships in college basketball that John Wooden has.
That's a fact.
And so you got to understand, like, Canales has his philosophy and the way he organizes his run plays.
Mm-hmm.
What I liked about yesterday is, along with the Rico, proposition for the zone run, is that we do see growth in Canales from game to game, switching things up and addressing issues.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about yesterday, one of the things that really got me excited was we've been seeing them, with like a negative plus 40 or negative minus 45 point differential in the second quarter. That was something they addressed. And even though we did come out sleepwalking in the first quarter, in the second quarter, we turned the notch up.
Yeah.
And that's because the coaching staff alerted the players, we are getting drugged in the second quarter and we need to step up. They stepped up, turned the entire game around.
Sure did. Salute to the real, man. I mean, look, this was one of the, like, I said this to you. I said this earlier in the show. This win, to me, way more impactful. Second biggest comeback in franchise history aside from a couple of different other times. One in particular that we remember against Philadelphia in 2018, down 17-0, when the great Cam Newton went on one of the more historic runs in his magical career. But yeah, I mean, the resilience they showed to bounce back from two picks, from two turnovers was huge, So, hey, man, we got 246 people watching between two platforms. We got 79 likes. Y'all make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you never miss a video. Consider joining the channel as well. I started memberships. It's $1.99 per month to join the channel. We'll have special perks, and also going to start doing some member-only shows as well as that membership continues to grow. And salute to my host, man, my co-host, I should say, Brad. Man, the mayor of Watauga County is in with us right now. He is really not the mayor, so y'all don't take that the wrong way, because I know people probably start calling and be like, hey, man, I heard y'all mayor say something on the show, and I don't really know if I agree with that or not. You know what I'm saying? Like that I don't know about that. But either way.
Gonna have me out here like TT. I need that money. What's he doing in real life?
Right. Straight up. All right, man. Look, we did this last week, Brad. Avero was in his bag, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, look, we got pretty solid ranks when it comes to defense in certain categories. Now, overall, it ain't sweet, but I mean, right now, currently, we're 24th in points allowed. So I mean, defense is ranked 22nd. It's an improvement from 32. Don't get me wrong, like, it ain't great, but it ain't the worst either. So I gave him a few flowers this morning. I'm going to let you speak your piece, and you tell me the truth. You can tell the truth about the matter.
So here's the thing. You want to make a team one-dimensional. People think if you take away the passing game, then that's better than taking away the run game. But either way, when you make a team one-dimensional on this level, on the NFL level, when you make a team stop doing one thing that they do well, and they have to go to the well to completely invigorate, continue, move the ball, move the chains, they become predictable. Now, they were passing all on us, the first quarter, but once we completely shut down the run and they had to pass all the time, we were able to cover better.
Yeah.
Minus the Tua to Waddle reception or touchdown, towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But we made them one-dimensional, man. 19 yards rushing, and that started by getting one DJ 52 Johnson up out the paint this week with the. And that's something like, we talked about, like, listen, we don't go at these players. Neither one of us, played NFL ball. We don't try to go at them with the disrespect of, we just don't like you, whatever. But, like, this dude consistently underperformed. He just wasn't getting it. He was drafted when he was 25.
Mm-hmm.
He was recruited as an athlete. And, he played tight end. He played defensive end. Linebacker, what I'm saying? They were trying to find somewhere for him to stick.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to Panthers Confidential, the draft episode of last year, the year where Scott Fitterer, or the year before last was Scott Fitterer. They were jumping up for joy. Nicole took the call. They show Evero saying, first we got to do is set the edge.
Yeah.
And against New England, I don't think he knew what setting the edge was.
Right.
And so for us to dismiss players that aren't performing and being like, listen, man, like, this is it. It's not working out. That's the first point I'd like to make about Avero's defense.
Mm-hmm.
Second point, when the second quarter started, I mean, the imagination with the way he was setting up the blitzes, the line stunts. Talked about this last night. Nick Scorton on the line stunts frees up whoever that defensive tackle is on the same side as he.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one play where he came down and he took out the tackle and the guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So our big issue is you're running this loiter ball reactionary defense.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get pressure with 4, but you're not running any stunts.
Right.
You're not walking any linebackers up. You're not walking up Trayvon Moorick. You're not giving the quarterback anything to look at.
Right.
But these 4 linemen or 2 linemen, 2 linebackers who have to win a straight up one-on-one battle. Everybody in the NFL is too good for that.
Yeah.
You got to give them something different to look at.
Yeah.
And until the second quarter, he didn't mix up his looks. And then once he did, you start to see why people think this guy could be a head coach. You see why guys think that this man could be
Popping, you tripping, bro. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to say something to Pop in the chat.
Oh, no, you good? The next big brain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, like Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, David Tepper. I don't know who made that call to get BJ up out the paint.
Hey,
but
that's why I put Tep on the thumbnail,
move.
bro. You know that was a Tep call. Hey, look at you, bro.
That single move galvanized us to victory yesterday.
Straight up. Straight up. Man, I'm trying to tell you. Hey, look, they was all up there scared of Tep, bro. I promise you. Like, because you knew, bro, if we lost yesterday, like, especially after them 2 turnovers in the beginning, it was getting ready to be ugly. I told you, I'm not going to say what we was going to start off the show with, but in the A block, it was going to look completely different than it did today. Completely different. Yeah. And we pretty much would have been on that the whole show, just lying in wait. You know what I'm saying? Just so the news broke in real time. And I think y'all know what we talking about with that, right? But man,
straight Frankenstein pitchfork.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Straight up. So, but yeah, man, you talked about it. I mean, A'Shawn Robinson, bro, balling this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, super high PFF rank, 13th of all like eligible defensive tackles, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's huge. That's important, especially establishing. You talked about Nick Scorton, man. He is feeding off of the energy that he is receiving from guys like Derek. And we talked about this in the offseason, man. Like, having a guy like that that's aggressive. You know what I'm saying? That, I mean, bully ball a lot of times, man. And in the run game, just been amazing. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that is just led from, you know what I'm saying, man, what can you say about Derek, bro? Derek is, I mean, you talking about, you're going to start having conversations about, you know, we got a lot of tackles in our history that are, you know, in Panther history anyway, that he might start being in the conversation. Oh, he already is with. But you might start having a conversation about best. I'm talking about guys like Starr, guys like Chris Jenkins. You know what I'm saying? Like, Derek's in that conversation. Maybe edging up to number 1, in my opinion.
Well, what got me so excited was, you know, while watching the game yesterday, it took us back to the thing about those guys, Starr, Chris Jenkins, Brenton Buckner. You couldn't, I mean, even K1 Short, I mean, he was a pass rush specialist, but he also, you know what I'm saying, stopped the run quite effectively, played the run quite effectively.
Yes.
Yo, consistent play, hand fighting, standing guys up, controlling the line of scrimmage. I mean, you know, Schlereth talked about, he was like, man, one thing that I believe that the Panthers have a advantage over the Dolphins, clearly, he's like, as the defensive line. He was like, these guys can reimagine, restart the line of scrimmage, shut it down, and make them have to do something different. And there was a particular play where they tried to run off tackle. He stood the tackle up. And that's another wrinkle that I really liked yesterday. So on a lot of plays, instead of going 2 outside linebackers, we would go Bobby Brown, A'Shawn, and Derek Brown as the other defensive end, outside linebacker, and then on the other side we'd have Nick Scorton, and that would be our 4. And then we would have Roseboom, Trevin Wallace, or you would have Lathan Ransom out there, and you would have the 3 safeties. So Derek Brown set that edge. And which edge was it? The one that New England ran all over. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, Captain Obvious, of course you're going to have better run defense when the guy that's setting the edge is Derek Brown compared to DJ Johnson. But that's a call that he had to make, and he made that adjustment. But that consistency, I mean, we just want to see that. We're so used to it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's been almost 10 years since 2015. But
it was never an issue.
Fan, I don't remember people running on us.
No,
you know what I mean?
It was never an issue. And that's what I had tweeted that one day. I said, man, we used to be linebacker you. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I mean, consistent guys, man, like over and over and over again, we're drafting like good, better, best, like over and over again. And it just kind of got away from that, you know. But I know that, you know, the way that defenses are played has changed and stuff like that. So you kind of have to evolve with the times. And, you know, offenses are made, you know, these days to make defenses look horrible. So it is really, really good to see. Hey, shout out to my guy Sideshow, man. I ain't seen you in a minute, dog. Salute. That's one of my mods as well. But, you know, just being able to draft those positions consistently. I mean, for some teams it didn't change, but some teams had to, you know, go out and get guys. Like linebackers aren't coming at a premium, and I do wonder to some degree if that's because linebackers have to do so much more in coverage these days than maybe I mean, they kind of always had to, but like it's more than it used to be in the past, right? Because you don't have, I mean, it's just like running backs, you know, it used to be a running back league, you know, Emmett, Earl Campbell, you know what I'm saying, Marcus Allen, you name the guy, right? And then when the offenses started spreading out more, your linebackers had to become more hybrid and had to change. So a lot of what would be linebackers from the past are your new, you know, edge rushers. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not the easiest position to scout as it used to be, and they don't grow on trees, which is like a team like Baltimore hasn't been able to find the replacement for the Suggs and the Ray Lewis, so they go out and get them from other teams. Because some of these guys like Roquan will slip through the cracks, and you'd be like, okay, well, I know you'd like to come play for an organization like this that models consistency. Absolutely, I would, you know, and so you get those opportunities. But the more that you see things starting to take shape with Carolina, I think that same thing could be at play. And look, salute to Trevin Wallace. Like Trevin, I mean, for the exception of just not understanding what was going on in that moment when, you know, Darren Waller just kind of blazed past you for a touchdown, like aside from that, he played a pretty good game.
Well, I mean, and Schlereth commented, like, you know, you got to run with the tight end down the seam.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Luke Kuechly make that play where, you know, when we played Atlanta one year, he ran the post route with Tony Gonzalez, and with low visibility, Matt Ryan threw the crossing, you know what I'm saying, route across the middle to the post right to where Tony was supposed to be on the tying route, and Luke ran the route for him and intercepted it.
Yeah.
But I've also seen where you're playing a zone where you pass that guy on to the defender behind you, which is the safety. So my thing was, is that a play where our good buddy Nick Scott was supposed to come up, or was he supposed to run with him? And, you know, I'll take Schlereth's explanation. Like I said, he knows more. Even if he doesn't know the particular defensive call or the defensive assignments on that play, he would know in situational football more so if that's what Trevin Wallace was supposed to do. But one thing I do know, you know, to continue to heap this praise on Avero is he put the green dot on Trevin Wallace's helmet.
Yeah, that's what Sideshow was just saying in the chat. Yeah. Yep.
And made him the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He played the most snaps. Or I wouldn't say the most, but he played more snaps than Roseboom, and he played better.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, minus that one play, and that was one of those things, I mean, everybody, you know, had their head on a swivel, didn't know what was going on. Head on a swivel usually is a positive attribute, but it seemed like everybody yesterday in the first quarter had no idea what was going on. I mean, they threw a touchdown pass with J.C. Horn having his back to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's an all-pro cornerback, you know what I mean? So everybody was discombobulated.
So I want to ask you one more. I'm going to bring up one more quick thing real quick before we move on to our next topic. But there's another, in my opinion, tough decision you're going to have to make, because I saw something yesterday, boy. This looks different. Looks different, Brad. Corey Thornton in that nickel spot. It was different. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like
that definitely helps the run.
Yeah. It was different. So even in his coverage grade is better than his run defense grade yesterday. Yeah.
Wait, the play. Darren Waller was eating us alive, man.
Mm-hmm.
What was it, 78 yards receiving and a touchdown?
Something like that, yeah.
Once we brought Corey Thornton in, put him on him, and was like, see ball, shut it down.
Done.
Hey, we didn't hear from Darren Waller the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Other than, him being the target of broken up passes.
I heard Avero say, Dave Canales say this one time. He said, I feel like this secondary can be Legion-esque. This, to me, is one of those kind of moves that you make that could potentially put you in that position to say that comfortably and say it with your chest. Because, like I said, man, this ain't nothing against Shao Smith-Wade, right, who's played well this year, but you could just tell it looked different. It looked way more aggressive. Like you said, it looked aggressive in the running game. It looked aggressive in the coverage game. It just looked different, and it's one of those guys that I would say the Corey Thornton one is a little bit harder than the Brady Christensen, right? When you have guys that you see, perform, because Shao Smith-Wade has played well, man. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, for sure.
And Corey was going to get his opportunity, but man, I don't know the significance of that injury. I haven't really looked, that deep into it at this point, and I will as the week goes along. But man, this could be one of those finds. I mean, you saw it, man. We talked about it. When he was playing on the outside against Cleveland, and you saw the big hit after big hit, the great coverage, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You saw what he was doing, the T-Mac in camp, and it was like, man, who is this dude? And then that last preseason game, they lined him up in the slot, right? And it's like, okay, you're doing that for a reason. Hey, just get ready, young buck, because I promise you, your opportunity going to come. I promise you that. But either way, man, look, go ahead.
And it's a shout out to the scouting department. You know what I mean? These guys aren't easy to find. You know what I mean? When you talk, it's easy to draft first round. Marty Herney, our GM for years. That was his thing, man. Our first rounders were out of the park. And then 2nd through 7th round, you had no idea what you were getting.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was a guy you could count on forever. And then undrafted, even worse. When we talk about, building this team in the image of Seattle, that's Brandon Browner. Brandon Browner was a super huge physical corner that went undrafted, had to play in the CFL for 4 years before he was signed by the Seahawks. This is an undrafted kid. He's got speed. He knows his leverage, and he's aggressive.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen, because certain plays coaches call, I call it loiter ball, but as a, defensive coordinator, as a cornerbacks, defensive backs coach, you want your guys to drive down on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that play he made on Darren Waller in the 4th, even though the play was zone coverage, as soon as he cut and made his move, balls out, he's one of those quarterbacks, man.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3 throw. He closed. That is in his head. That's something that, the coach can't go out and do for him. And, man, we have lacked that kind of aggressive confidence in oneself from a lot of our players. And, man, you can't teach that.
That's a fact.
You can stress it. You can ask for it. But, man, he's doing that just off the cuff, and he's making plays.
That's a fact. That is a fact. Hey, all right, so we getting ready to move on to the last topic. Actually, it's not the last topic. It's the second to last topic. But Mr. Potato Head with a comment that's actually kind of funny. He said, and I guess this is supposed to be Tepper. So he said, I made sure we drafted Bryce because he is our future. And if I catch anyone you speaking bad against Bryce, you'll be banned from all home games. I'm like, Let's go. All right, so all right. Moving right along. Speak of the devil, and he will appear. Man, Brad, I said something yesterday, man, and it got quite a good reaction on X, man, and I'm gonna say it again. And for those who aren't used to me saying certain words, like I apologize for my lexicon that's getting ready to come out, right? But I got retweeted by Xavier Supreme, a really good and funny follow on X in the Panther space, and because he kind of echoed the same sentiment, and I was like, hey, bro, I said, man, this little nigga be driving me crazy, bro. Like, he really do, man. Like, it's crazy, man, because it's like, he will make some of this is beyond, I talked about this earlier. This is not cardiac cat, like sometimes game managing Jake Delhomme with a few big plays. This is, man, fumble, interception, and then out of nowhere make a play that maybe two other quarterbacks in the league can make, and make a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? It is beyond frustrating. I really did think after the interception, they go up 17-0. My initial thought was, well, there's the game. We're not coming back from this. My second thought was, hey, man, and I said it out loud. And I know it was a surprise to some people. I actually got some text messages. Did you just say on X in the group chat, like, dog, did you just say he needs to go to the bench? Yeah. Yeah. Because you cannot put your team in a position to have to be dug out of a hole week in, week out. And just because last week you didn't have any turnovers, so what? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to play conservative and call running plays over and over again because you're terrified of this guy, then put somebody in who you feel like is capable. And then out of nowhere, he does, like, bro, the off-platform throw to McMillan, amazing. That fade route to XL, Brad, I'm going to be honest with you, the level of anticipation to make that throw, and then XL just kind of peekaboo around the corner from the defender, one, you could tell that they practiced that a lot, right? And salute to XL for, this was completely different. Like, the way that XL's body was contorted, it was the same type of catch that he would have made last year in Philly that would have turned him into the superstar that he was cosplaying in the offseason, right? But to me, it's like, dog, there's not too many guys that can make that throw. I really believe, and I said as much, and I'll let you speak in just a second. I think that Bryce's footwork and the level of inconsistency with the footwork is what causes most of his issues. Now, the fumbling thing, I mean, when you're small like that, man, and you get hit, like, that's just, I mean, every time he fumbles, bro, it's like, I feel like I hear Sonic losing the rings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's literally like, it sounds like, I'm just, and it don't even, like, it's almost like guys respect the fact that I have yet to see Bryce Young. I've seen him get thrown down hard a couple of times, but you can really tell how people feel about Bryce in the league. Because, bro, people be throwing Tua around like a rag doll, man. It's like they kind of take it easy on Bryce. Like, I ain't seen Bryce really get smoked, like, maybe like 2 or 3 times in his entire career where he just got absolutely blasted. But on a couple of those times, it's when he stood tall, and it's as tall as he could anyway, and made the throw. Like, there was one against Miami his rookie year. Man, he made a throw to Adam Thielen on a crossing route in the middle of the field and got blasted. But, bro, the throw was right on time. And I talked about it. You look at that XL throw yesterday. Feet completely together, no wide base, step up in the pocket, not even a step up in the pocket. The kind of little drifty skip that he does to get up into the pocket, feet completely together, throws the ball at sails, right? But you go back and I could pull 4 or 5 different throws. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. I could pull the throw to Jalen Coker on the sideline against Denver. I could pull a throw, against the Cardinals last year. I could pull a throw that he made even in this game. You know what I'm saying? A timing throw to McMillan, on the sideline, getting closer to the red zone. Each one of those throws was synonymous with one thing: wide base. My foot is planted. The ball is going exactly where I want it to go, because he is crazy accurate. What he is also crazy inconsistent with the feet. My thing is, though, is that, one, it's hard to, like, I told you this last night. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight, right? And Conor keeps grabbing Floyd, and every time he grabs him, he immediately starts hitting him on top of the head, right? Muscle memory. I can't just put that away. I can't just change that. That's what got me here. You know what I'm saying? So then the question is like, how do you help train him to a point? Because what I really think that what has to happen is, as I mentioned earlier, and I mentioned this to you too, just like that clip in the Kurt Warner movie where he kept having to do something over and over and over and over again, and it wasn't like, okay, do this over again, now go do it in real time under pressure. No, it was like, yo, do this over and over again, and then go to the bench. Then come back the next day and do it again and again and again, go back to the bench. You have no prospects of getting into the game. I need you to sit down and learn what it's like to in pressure situations, because Bryce off script, that's where he was. That's why you drafted him number one, right? Because his off script stuff is unbelievable. That throw to Tommy Tremble overseas in the New York game, it ain't too many guys making that throw or can see something that fast. Even that little throw wrapping around the defender yesterday to Rico Dout in the flat. You know what I'm saying? For Rico to take off for a couple of yards. It was like a running play, but still, it's just like there's not a lot of guys making that kind of throw. But what about the structure stuff? What about when it's stepping up in the pocket? What about when the pocket's muddied, right? Like maybe you could say he's got some PTSD from just getting, absolutely slaughtered his rookie season 62 times, right? He didn't get blasted, but he got sacked. He got a couple of hard hits in there, right? But you have to be able to get to a point where that becomes more consistent. Because to me, that's what would make Bryce what we saw him be the end of last year. If we see that consistently, that turns him into, in my opinion, potentially a top 10 quarterback with the footwork consistency. What do you say?
What is that crucial diatribe?
Hey man, look, you don't understand, dog. Like I get arrows from everywhere about this. But go ahead.
Bryce is your dude, and I understand how hard it is when you vibe with somebody like that to find their weaknesses and their issues. But it was so bad in the first quarter that it goes back to that thing, how can we evaluate any of these other guys if he's playing this bad? The fumble on the read option, one, you're mad because he doesn't give it to Dow. You know what I'm saying? Like the way Rico was running already, just give it to Rico, man. You know what I'm saying? He made the wrong read, and then just to throw, of course he didn't throw it on the ground, but that fumble was insane. It was like nobody is. There was a guy bearing down on him, but like there was nobody who had his arms. Nobody was pulling him down. And then the second one, Xavier Legette was as wide open can be, and you overthrow him by 5 yards. You know what I'm saying? Those were horrible turnovers. I like that the team does believe in him, and they went to him and was like, listen, man, let's get it together. Do what you do. We gonna do what we do. But man, it starting in that hole and killing your team is just something no quarterback can do. And then you fast forward, and then the fourth down, I think it was 4th and 5 play that he made to T-Mac.
Oh man, no, you talking about the one he made to Horn?
No, to T-Mac.
Oh yeah. Okay,
yeah. The first one.
Yeah, the first one.
The one on the drive that ended in the Legette touchdown.
Yeah, my bad.
That's one of those plays where it's like, look, man, if you take care of the easy plays, if you take care of the routine plays where you're hitting butt naked wide open receivers, calls, on crossing route, on deep routes, on post corners, when you make these plays, this is the hard thing to do.
Yeah.
You outrun a defensive end. You hit him with the jab step. That freezes him and the corner behind him. Step up and then make the sidearm throw to T-Mac. That's a hard play to make.
Very.
The throw to Leggett is an easy play to make. And that's what's so disheartening. The read option to Rico, that's an easy play to make. Hand the ball off, man. I like what he did some in the second half. It's like particularly the play, it was third down, and he had nothing, so he threw it away.
Man, hold on. Like, hey, bro, hold on a second. Man, what? Trigger B. Smith talking about, nah, bro, Rico stands on Gaffney. That football in their culture, they got like 18, 19 state championships. Rico wasn't supposed to play in NC. Bro, check for a mountain team. Put some respect on AC Reynolds, dog. Check our record when it comes to state championships. We might not have 18 or 19 state championships, but let me just let you in on a little secret. Rico went, and myself, same high school, went to a school where it wasn't a whole lot of us, right? So to be what he was, and Rico was like, it's some names in AC Reynolds history when you start thinking of guys like Bobby Bowens or Derek Eddington or Josh Meadows. You know what I'm saying? Like Andrew Oak. Some of these, like if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? In Reynolds history. Man, Rico stood at the top of that list. But the Gaffney thing, man, gone somewhere, bro. Got here.
It's gone somewhere, bro. But anyway, yeah, so he throws the ball away on third down, and then on fourth down, he makes the pass to Jimmy Horn. So it was like a live to fight another down thing instead of trying to force something for an interception.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is continue to make the easy plays or start making the easy plays. I was so angry. They ran they ran it against Jacksonville. They ran it yesterday, a wheel route, and Tommy Tremble was wide open. And he did everything right. He held the safety with his eyes. The route combination fooled the linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just missed the throw.
Yeah.
That's a walk-in touchdown. We got to see more consistency there, man. You got to make the easy plays. And then when you make the hard plays, we can celebrate because you've been making the easy plays.
Yeah.
And if you make the easy plays, there are not so many hard plays that you have to make.
Yeah. Straight up.
You know what I'm saying?
Straight
the
up.
Big thing with Excel is running in space. The guy was wide open. We've been on his neck. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? They've had 50 microphones in his face.
Mm-hmm.
The guy played well yesterday.
Yeah.
T-Mac continued to be consistent. And I can't, man, I'm, shuffling my feet, turn around in circles. I cannot, so much anticipation for the return of Jalen Coker. Because I feel like right now, Hunter's not giving us anything.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I honestly think that, bro, I talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a matter of fact, give me like 2 seconds because I'm going to pull this. But in the meantime, tell me what you were saying about Hunter.
All he gave us yesterday was a pass interference call to continue a drive. You know what I mean? And, can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. That's not nothing to sneeze at. You know what I'm saying? Dude had to hold him, or he may have been open on that play. I'm glad Bryce went there because that's a big part of quarterback play, too, is you see what they do to your receiver, throw the ball over there, make the referees get the flag out their pocket.
100%. Yeah.
But just to see, someone had said earlier that the line is not blocking long enough for Hunter Renfrow to get into his routes. And I'm saying it's the same line who is producing enough time for T-Mac to consistently have 70-yard gains for Leggett to come back yesterday and do what he did.
Mm-hmm.
For Tommy Tremble to get open, Tommy Tremble, the big thing about him coming out of college was he was a run blocker. And so my thing is, it's time to let other guys get PT. Like my dream scenario is Coker, XL, Jimmy Horn, and T-Mac.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that stack gives teams a lot of trouble. I feel like, especially with your jet sweeps, your reverses, you got all kinds of options. Your wide receiver screens, you got big guys to block. You also got guys that are shifty, and you got guys that can run routes.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that I see coming down the pike of a decision that Canales has got to make.
Yes. So I'm going to play this audio real quick. Give me 2 seconds. This is me from the
I saw
other
this
day.
earlier.
Salute to the Panthers media team. I heard a couple of our Panther faithful reporters in the room whenever they were recording him saying this. I heard this and I just thought, oh my gosh, like this right here.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, I feel it. They happy for me. They ready to see me get out.
Is there any pressure that comes with that?
Nah, I apply pressure. I don't let pressure apply me.
I apply the pressure. Excuse me. I apply the pressure. I don't let pressure apply me. When I was talking about that the past couple of days, many people was like, there was a host of different opinions on that take from Jimmy Horn. Some people were saying like, obviously the majority of people are like, yeah, man, you love to see that or whatever. And, there was a little bit of overzealousness to some of the takes as well of people being like, yeah, Jimmy Horn's going to come in and just like take over or whatever. And it's like, nah, that's not what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? Because some people pushing back like, dog, you think a 6th-round receiver is going to save us? No, that's not what I was saying at all. There's a passage in Scripture, you know what I'm saying? Like, every now and again, boy, I'm going to have to take you out of church. All right. So there's a passage in Scripture where Peter says to Jesus after he's like, hey, who do you say I am? Right? He says, you're the Christ, right? And he says, upon this rock, I will build my church, right? It wasn't upon Peter. Now, there's a specific faith, if you will, theology that suggests that Peter was the first of, whatever. I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to offend nobody. And this ain't the channel to have theological conversations, even though I have thought about starting one. But the point is that in my opinion, it was more the revelation that Peter gave, right? Of understanding that Jesus was the Christ, right? That was given to Peter. For me, what Jimmy Horn said right there, upon that statement, is how this team can be changed and how everything can be flipped. I apply pressure. Pressure don't apply to me. Man, for a 6th-round pick to come out and say that and have that much like belief in yourself to say something like that, that's different. And you didn't just see that from him. When XL caught the touchdown, it wasn't no, we didn't get into no dollar bill riding and all that kind of stuff. It was like, yo, I jump up, T-Mac, the first person over there saluting him. You know what I'm saying? I saw the sideline, Jimmy Horn over there pointing at him in his helmet, pointing at him in the chest, you know what I'm saying, or whatever like that. It was like, we talked about that yesterday off camera, how XL, you said this, not me, this is you, that XL lost the benefit of Adam Thielen because what Adam brought from having an assuredness of yourself and also just the energy, guys like XL feed off of that. XL, I don't think it can be understated, when you're in a young developmental phase of your career, and then especially for guys that are athletes that have all this fame, notoriety, money, all this stuff that starts to come at you, it is extremely important to have your parents. When XL lost his parents, man, I'm serious. I believe that set him back because he said it when he was like yesterday. He talked about Rico Dout. It took me a second to really remember that. XL was in college for a long time, man. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, Rico was one of my teammates. I knew he could do it. I was like, what? And I got to think, I got to thinking about it. I'm like, oh, yo, he was. That's right. You know what I'm saying?
If you think about it, it takes 4 years for anybody not drafted in the first round to play their first contract. So Rico being in the league 4 years, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So I'm thinking to myself yo, and Rico got the benefit of doing something that XL didn't because XL had one magical season and look, it ain't his fault. We drafted him in the first round. I don't know where XL falls. I don't know where he falls in the depth chart. I don't know where he falls from a pick perspective if we don't take him where we took him. But we took him. Then another unfortunate situation happens. You come in, you get a few snaps in the slot. We're going to work you in slowly, kind of put you on the Rasheed Rice, building up program. You know what I'm saying? A lot of really quick reads and stuff like that to get you in the open space to help you develop. Oh, guess what? The guy who was brought in to be our ex is a nutcase. So now we need you to step up because we've seen some things from you in camp to suggest that you could be that. Then you get your opportunity and do some good things with it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know it's easy to dump on XL, but hey, yo, go watch the drive, not just the play. I've talked about this at nauseum. Watch the drive in the Philly game. You know what I'm saying? There were three that stood out more than anybody else on that drive. Number one was Bryce, being able to bail out of the pocket. Number two was somebody we wanted named Milton Williams, who, by the way, it wasn't Jalen Carter that they kept doubling. It was Milton that they kept doubling in that game. And number three was XL. XL catching the ball when the ball came out of the end zone, it was him. When the ball got thrown to, potentially end the game, it was him. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't have the Rico opportunity where you could sit behind somebody. They tried to do that, but because of circumstance, it was like, hey, man, let's just catapult you into this space. And then it's like, well, we seen all the stuff you're doing in the offseason, even though you were supposed to be a developmental piece from the beginning. And it's like, okay, well, you big dog now, right? And it's like, well, nah, I'm not quite that yet, but I believe that I can be. You know what I'm saying? Like, that can come. That's the trajectory, right? So yeah, seeing a guy like Jimmy who's a little bit more sure of himself, because when you have guys like that, even when they make mistakes, I'm sure if you comb through the tape, there might be a couple of times where they look at Jimmy and be like, hey man, you should have done this instead of this. All right. And then that's it. No more conversation. Then I'm going out to execute. And then you see the level of trust. He said he had an idea that Bryce would come to him on that fourth down play. Bro, Brad, they were doing that with Thielen last year. We've been looking for that. If we had that in that Arizona game, we probably closed the deal. Maybe it don't even get as bad as it did. Now, you don't want hindsight is 2020, so you don't want to look back too far. But the point is that not only for him to say what he said, Rico calling his shot, Derek going over to Bryce, hey, look, we got this, man. I'm telling you, dog, when you hear somebody, it started with that clip going around during, last week's prep. And that clip, to say that out loud like that from somebody who hasn't had opportunities that other guys have had, who wasn't drafted as high as T-Mac, who wasn't drafted as high as XL, who don't get the snaps that Coker, man, these guys might not even have snaps. He might not even get snaps if these guys were still playing and they were healthy. He might have been shelved the entire year. You know what I'm saying? Man, there's a guy that ain't even on our team that they let play over him last week, dog. And for you to have that kind of confidence, it's like, yo, I got you, coach. Just give me a chance. What'd he say? You want to win? Put Booby in. Let me do this for you, coach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's like I was saying before about Puka Nacua. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got his opportunity because other guys got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Being drafted that late, I mean, that's just how that stuff is. You know what I'm saying? You have to wait on your shot. But I'd like to first off say, like, man, cut it out about, the negativity in certain things makes sense. I get it. The team looks bad, coaching, ownership, all of that. But when people say stuff like, oh, 6th round supposed to save us, man, get out of here. It's like, listen, Puka Nacua was a 5th round pick. Tyreek Hill was a 5th round pick. Mm-hmm. Have they not changed the trajectory, especially in the short term for the Rams? You know what I'm saying? Like, has he not changed the trajectory of what Matthew Stafford and their coach is able to do? Tyreek Hill, did he not change the trajectory of the career of what everybody's now is saying the best quarterback they've ever seen play football in Patrick Mahomes? I mean, we watched Andy Reid be competitive for years with Donovan McNabb as his quarterback in Philly.
Yeah.
But he could never get over the hump.
Couldn't get over the hump, yeah. Not until they brought in T.O. that year, yeah.
These late-round picks, man, just because there are measurables, there are things that make them late-round picks. And then also, I mean, I wouldn't trust Mel Kiper with anything. These guys are.
Why you shooting at Mel, man?
Listen. Because, man, I always say if my career didn't work out, I would be either a weatherman or an NFL draft analyst because there is zero accountability. You can come out and say, hey, man, so-and-so is the bona fide number one. So-and-so, he went past the 4th round, and these people are crazy for letting him go that far. And then he may show you, he may not. No one's going to go back and be like, 6 years ago, Mel Kiper said this, this, and this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So to say that, yeah, the kid's a 6th-round pick, but he played for the best cornerback in the history of the game.
Mm.
He played with Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the guy that they went to when things bogged down to keep the chains moving.
That's a fact.
Of course he's got confidence.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And then everybody to be like, oh, man, well, he's, 6th-round pick ain't going to save us. Dude, you got to understand when you have these options at receiver that can't get open.
Willie, hold on. Willie, don't be gassing Brad up, man. Willie talking about good take on Mel Kiper. Don't do that.
Yeah, let's go, Willie. You know what it is. Let's go, Willie.
Don't be gassing him, man. But go ahead,
but when you got these guys that can't get open, you got to give a kid a chance that can get open, can do some things. And everybody has been saying, and a lot of it's parroting what we heard Dan Morgan say, we want dogs on this team.
Yeah.
And if you want DAWG dogs, you got to have guys that are confident.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't be these dudes out there still trying to find your way is one thing, but knowing, like, if the ball comes to me, if there's not a penalty, if there's not somebody holding me, I'm going to catch the ball. Rain, sleet, snow, wind, whatever, I'm going to get it done.
Yeah, straight up.
You got to have those kind of guys on your team. And 6th-round pick or not, that is Jimmy Horn Jr. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I like what someone was saying. They felt that losing Adam Thielen really hurt Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to piggyback off of that. And we talked about it last night. I really think that hurt Xavier Legette.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, when you have all these different people that are in your life, you lost your parents. There are certain people that imprint on you. And you begin to trust them. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Adam Thielen was every time you saw any kind of thing on Panther social media, pictures, Legette and Thielen were beside each other.
They sure were. Yep.
He was the one coaching through all of those ups and downs issues last year in camp. Same thing. So yeah, I really feel like we are getting over those things. The kind of things that basically hampered the start of our season. We got to continue, like I said, to get that consistent play from Bryce, which for the most part we still haven't got. I believe there was about 50, 60 yards he left on the field, maybe more. He hits Legette coming across the middle. Like I said, I feel like he catches that, turns the corner, smokes everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we get that play, he's going to have the weapons, man, once Jalen Coker is fully healthy.
Yeah. Speaking of Adam Thielen, let me just say this real quick before we move on to – I'm going to say two things before we move on to our last topic. The red guy, 982, says he took the team on a retreat to Minnesota and had so much fun he decided to stay. I'm like, which honestly, I think that was more of a family decision. Maybe the wife wanting to go back home. Maybe even him. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that a little bit last night, Brad. Because, bro had, I think 2 targets yesterday. No yards, no catches. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it ain't what I'm sure that he thought it was going to be, but I'm sure he was probably somewhat aware because, the market wasn't huge for you, man. You came here, made a name for yourself on a bad team. And, if this team –
He ate here.
He did. And if this team – he did eat. If this team turns it around, honestly, he's one of those guys I'm sure in the offseason, like a lot of those, training, exercise, all those kind of things that they did together, that's going to help, and some of those guys. So I'm sure they'll give it up for him, in that time. But let's talk about what you're talking about with Bryce and the inconsistencies, man. Like I've said this one time before. Like at first, my take on Bryce was like, oh man, this could be game changing. He's an anomaly, quick passes, all this other kind of stuff. We can set up a lot of things around him. And then I found out, rather quickly, but just didn't really want to admit, like, well, it's not going to really work out in the NFL the way that maybe I thought it would for him. So then I kind of pivoted. So now I will state my position on what I hope the best for Bryce Young to be. I hope the best for Bryce Young to be for us is Alex Smith, someone who started off rough. Now with Alex, it might have been a little different. Yes, he was bad, but it also was bad coach after bad coach. Not for nothing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Alex went through 3 coaches. Because I know people are like, man, if they get rid of Dave Canales, you can't be serious thinking that you're going to bring in another coach. And it's like, I'm not so sure about that. Because I know Mike Singletary, I don't know if Mike was the coach when they drafted Alex Smith. I could be wrong. I feel like they had another coach, fired that coach, brought in Mike Singletary.
It was
somebody
there before him. He came, and then they built the defense and the offensive line with all the picks they got for Alex Smith stinking it up every year and then getting to draft time.
Was it? I don't think it was Mooch. I'm pretty sure Mooch was gone by that point, right? Or was he? Steve Mariucci? Was he? Because I know Jeff Garcia was Mooch's quarterback, and then they had drafted Giovanni Carmazzi, but that was a few years prior. So, because, I mean, they drafted Giovanni Carmazzi pretty high. He was just, terrible. But the point is that, Elliot talking about they heard my phone buzz and they talking about Tepper calling you. He didn't have enough of your he gonna be calling me in a minute because what I'm about to talk about, he definitely gonna call. But yeah, man. I feel like if you can steady the ship, I think you can still, because we had an argument about this before off record about how can you really know your roster if you don't have consistency with him at quarterback. And I think that there's things that you can see, like he'll give you a flash from time to time throwing the ball down the field. And I really think that's our biggest area of opportunity is being able to push the ball down the field, right? And I also think that they should, with this newfound Rico emergence, I really believe, and I tweeted this yesterday, man, stop running plays in shotgun. You know what I'm saying? Like, get him behind center, just like that running the 53-yard inside zone run, the toss. That was Bryce behind center. Okay, now what happens if you got the team committing to the run and you do that and call a play action and take a shot? Miami was giving us, they was almost begging us to throw it deep, bro. It was like single high after single high. That's disrespectful to me if I'm Bryce. Bro, put me behind center. Let me go play action and take a shot to T-Mac down the field. Because we saw it happen yesterday. It's either going to be one of 3 outcomes. T-Mac going to get a call that he should have got. T-Mac going to catch the ball, or they're going to throw a flag. Because he's just that hard to deal with one-on-one down the field, right? So, yeah, I would love to have seen that more. And maybe that's something that they'll do against Dallas. But the point stands. I think that if Bryce shows you enough and he steadies the ship, what you could do is create a developmental opportunity for the next guy. So say, for example, let's just say this year. I'm not saying it's this year, but it could be. Maybe it's, next year. Say a guy like, I know there's some names at the top of the draft that people love. Guys like Dante Moore or, guys like my man from South Carolina. Man, I'm drawing a blank. You know what I'm talking about, the South Carolina quarterback. Most people think he's probably going to go number 1. Carson Beck.
Lenore Sellers.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers. Carson Beck. Cade, Klubnik, which would be a shock to me. But many other people. But the point is like this, okay? Suppose that there's a guy like Mendoza, suppose a Mateer, or, one of these athletic quarterbacks. I think the SMU has a guy that's playing really well. And, you see something in him, but, it would take some time to develop. Well, if you already have Bryce on your roster and you're a 500 team or just above 500, maybe not quite a playoff team, then you can bring a guy in like that to kind of challenge the room. And then that next year, maybe Bryce does do enough and you built this roster enough to know your personnel where if Dan Morgan has another draft like this draft, you better believe they'll probably go to the playoffs in spite of Bryce Young. because these guys that they already got only going to get better. And then, obviously he going to let Bryce hold them back. But the point is that you give guys like that a chance to develop. And then you bring in a guy and you have a Alex Smith to Kaepernick kind of situation where a guy can come in and take over an infrastructure that's already in place. Because the last thing I would want to do, if I don't know about y'all, but man, yeah, some of these quarterbacks look great at the top. But man, what's the point? What's the point of bringing in another quarterback if Bryce fails, only to come into a situation and an infrastructure? Because if Bryce fails, that means that Canales likely failed. That means that Dan Morgan failed, and he may get fired. And then you're just running the gamut all over again of trying to build and develop instead of creating infrastructure. Yeah, we might be bad for one more year, maybe another year. But I would at least give that a shot before I just go blowing everything up. And that's a lot different from what I said earlier to you on the phone, because I've had some time to think about it and have a little bit more clarity of thought.
I mean, I understand, like, if he goes to another team, like a lot of people are saying, he could look better in different systems. But I don't understand how you don't look at this system with the receivers that you have as far as, T-Mac, when they're healthy. So that's what I'm waiting on to see for evaluation purposes. But when you've got this healthy team, you've got this kind of running game, Bryce has got to step up and be consistent.
Yes.
Like I said before, to me, man, some of the misses he has, it resulted in an interception, so you get more angry. It's a turnover. But I was angrier at the miss to Tommy Tremble than I was on the ball that sailed.
Do tell.
Because Tremble's wide open. You've done everything right. All you got to do is make the throw. The one that sailed on him, you see it happen. It happened to Tua yesterday. When you're a smaller quarterback and you step up, and when you step up to make your throw, you got to step into a 6'4", 6'5", 6'3" guys, center and two guards in front of you. You're throwing blind. So that stuff can happen from time to time.
Yeah.
You still want him to make that play because it's there. And since you practice with those guys blocking in front of you, you're used to that's what's happening. But blowing it up, like I said, at this point, I try to make the point we were talking last week, like to blow it up at this point doesn't make sense because, one, you've only got really two players that are tradable as far as contracts, age, and all that's concerned. And then even them, they just signed new contracts. They're going to want you to pay some of those contracts, so they're not footing the entire bill. And teams are starting to hold on to their picks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so two, we've traded so much draft capital and we've done so much to get to where we are now. You've got to figure out exactly what works. Hold on to your picks, who you can go forward with, especially the young guys, your young captains. And then that's when you make your move. Like, I'm with you on that. I mean, Bryce is going into year 4. He's got a 5th-year option. If you keep him and draft a guy to replace him and they both are on the roster next year, that's not a bad as idea as, completely starting over and still not knowing what you have.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? But he's got to play better to be Alex Smith.
Yeah. At
this point.
And there are things that started to turn for Alex Smith as far as the personnel around him too. We got the famous can't win with him, can't coach him, can't do it. That was about Vernon Davis. And I remember Vernon Davis running to the sideline like crying whenever he had that walk-off touchdown against, I can't remember who it was. I think it was in a playoff game where it was to go to the playoffs, one or the other. I'm pretty sure it was in a playoff game. Run over the Harbaugh and start crying because, it was tough going for Vernon. A lot of talent, but just misguided, immature, you know what I'm saying? And, underwhelmingly undercoached, right? So, yeah, I mean, in our situation, all of this could just kind of happen all at the same time. Hey, man, like, look, Pittsburgh, once upon a time, man, Terry Bradshaw got benched. You know what I'm saying? Terry Bradshaw looked awful, but the offense just started to mesh. You know what I'm saying? They had, Franco, that they relied on, running the ball, and, things just started to become better for them. They became a running team, and then Terry Bradshaw just kind of turned the corner, and things started to come together. So you never know what can happen. So, all right, man, 227 people watching between two man, I'm all over the place. Between two platforms, 112 likes. Make sure to smash the like button. If you're not subscribed to the One Carolina channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Salute to my co-host Brad joining me today, as usual, on our Mint Street Mondays. I heard somebody ask me, or somebody put in the comments earlier, where else do I broadcast? It would be here and X and pretty soon Facebook. I don't do the Twitch thing, maybe at some point in my life, but that's kind of for the younger folks, and I ain't gonna be streaming like all day long. So yeah, but all right. So last topic before we get out of here, man. So the internet streets was set ablaze last week, and I debated whether or not I would talk about this, but I took enough shots to where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna speak on it. And the shots were more thinly veiled. It was more fun in games than anything else. But Brad, I don't know if you saw this. So I saw this letter that was put out last week from a podcast called Meow Mix, which is a Panther podcast that started in 2019. Now, I've watched them before. I remember them because I started in 2021. So I did, obviously I've become familiar with just about, there's a lot of new ones popping up. Like, it seems like every day there's a new Panther podcast, right? But like during that time, there still were only a handful. You know what I'm saying? There was the really popular ones. I'm going to say probably the most popular podcast during that time, I say 2019, probably would have been Keep Pounding the TV, right? PNP, they were around. Pat Coltrane is somebody who was popular. C3 was around during that time. They've been around for forever. But these guys came around, and like I said, I watched them, but they put out a little docket, last week, and was like, man, we gonna shut this thing down, man, because the team just it's just too bad, man. We taking time away from our families. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just way too much more that we could be doing that's meaningful to society than to be talking about a team that just keep putting us through this misery. We've been around for a minute, so we gone. And I saw that, and I saw a couple of people retweet it. Probably the most funny one was Pat Coltrane, because Pat did the same thing once upon a time. Now, it was probably for different reasons, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe it was because of the team being bad. I know we kind of, me and Pat had our interview, we talked about a little bit about it backstage. And so some of it was because it was like, yeah, it was a little difficult, to be talking about the team when they're this bad. But, Pat bowed out for a minute. I told Pat that whether Pat agree or acknowledge this or not, and salute to my man Pat Coltrane, but I was like, yo, dog, I feel like, I said it at the beginning of my pod, I was like, man, I feel like I brought you back out. I made you take the jersey out the rafter, because when I reached out to him, he's like, man, you want to interview me? Yeah, what you mean? Like, bro, you a legend out here. Of course I do.
What you mean, man?
Yeah, what you talking about? And so Pat had a pretty hilarious reaction to it. He was like, man, he said, look, I done retired, and I ain't get half of the love that these jokers got or whatever. But man, this was crazy, bro. Cause like all of a sudden Bleacher Report does this and them boys lit, you know what I'm saying? And so I had tweeted, I was like, man, look, y'all might as well open shop now. Cause hey, it's up, you know what I'm saying? So like, ain't no way I'm walking away. Now you can't buy this kind of press, and so just kind of talk and speaking to it from the content creator perspective. I got two different thoughts when it comes to it, right? And I ain't here to take this like super serious, because honestly, I've been tweeting stuff about them, kind of laughing at their expense. But salute to them boys, because they have been at it for a minute. And I stand on the laughter because it's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't malicious. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing against them. Like salute to them. Like, hey, if I'm y'all, like straight up, man, I'm capitalizing off of this. Like big time. Bleacher Report, man, they was talking about these boys everywhere. They was getting write-ups on Yahoo and all kind of stuff. I'm like, yo, look, shop open. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is what we're doing, shop open, bro. But from the content creator perspective, I'll say it like this, man. I do believe that I've always towed the line of like not putting, and I'm not saying that this is what these guys are doing, right? But sometimes the signs be there. I don't allow my sports team to have, like, I don't put myself, like, self-worth, self-confidence, all that kind of stuff, self-esteem in my sports franchise. Like, yeah, do I get upset when the Panthers lose? You better believe it, because I'm diehard. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't, right? We wouldn't take time out of our day. There's so many more things that we could be doing. Now, I'm lucky to be in a situation with my wife where, she's super cool about, me doing the pod and everything like that. Now, I've kind of built it to a point now where things are way more streamlined to where I don't have to spend so much time on production and things like that because of, years and years and years of just learning, to get to this point and to being able to scale. But like, I do understand from the perspective of, hey man, a team been this bad for this long. Yeah, I'm out. I really don't want to do this no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tiring. It gets old. They getting beat. We doing all this research, all this kind of stuff. But like, man, the other side of it is this. What about creativity? You know what I'm saying? What about growth? What about scaling? What about collaboration? You know what I'm saying? There's so many people out here that I haven't collaborated with yet that I fully plan to. That kind of stuff reinvigorates me. And plus, for me, I'm just super competitive. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, I want y'all watching just as much as everybody else does, right? That does this. I could sit here and be naive and be like, nah, it's a passion project and everything like that. Man, is you crazy? Spending all this kind of time, all this production level, the people that I have around me and stuff like that, just to be on some, yeah, we doing it for the love. Yeah, I'm doing it for the love of partnership, the love of sponsorship, you know what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff, right? So I'm not trying to sound like super materialistic when it comes to it, but like, to me, it kind of shed a light on the whole like podcasting thing, because some of the takes out there were like, yeah, man, y'all, people be wasting their time doing all this kind of stuff. I'm like, man, what you mean, man? It ain't nothing better in life than creativity. Being able to push things to the max. Even if the team was bad, Brad, I'm still going to find something to talk about. It might not even be positive. We might get on here and absolutely throw tomatoes at the team. But boy, it's going to look and sound fly when we do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's enough for me to continue to keep shop open. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just me. It's a bunch of people that feel the same way. Like, that's why to me, like this community, man, because when it's good, that's the moments that you look forward to. It ain't always good, but people be, I have people that try to hit me in the head with like, yo, man, we need to temper expectations. Hey, man, you do that. You temper your expectations. No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? No, right. No pun intended. You temper your expectations. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. When we win, vroom, vroom, gassing it up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we all want. I told y'all earlier, 80% of the fans are the ones that go in the stands and watch. We the 20% that be on here losing our minds over the analytical stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the most people, just like they there for the vibes. So when you come to One Carolina, you here for the vibes. Yeah, we're going to talk a little ball. We're going to talk about some of the stats and stuff like that. But for the most part, when these boys winning, when they doing good, we're going to show them love. When they don't, you know what I'm saying? We're going to call it out. And we're going to say what we got to say. Sometimes, now I'll be careful about how I call it out because I'm not going to say something just like flat out disrespectful. But at the same time, like, yeah, I'm going to give it up, right? But the point is just like, salute to them. Like, honestly, I hope they come back now. I really do. I even said it yesterday. I tweeted as much. I was like, hey, y'all think meow mix? And I was like, never mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people was kind of laughing at that or whatever. But like, nah, like capitalize on it, man. Like, I hope this is the thing that, because y'all have spent so much time. Like, yes, I laughed at the situation. It was funny. I think all of us kind of laughed at it. But on a more serious note, man, like salute to y'all for the time that you put in to get the kind of look that you got from this. This is where, because you can get reinvigorated just by people supporting you. I know it's mad people out there that's like, man, we ain't never heard of these dudes. Mad people laughing at the name, whatever else. Man, forget all that, man. People laugh at me all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm outside, right? Like, I don't care about, like, I'm going to join you in the laughter. I say some stuff that I laugh at sometimes. I know that I can be delusional sometimes. But from a content creator perspective, bro, with me, by and large, it's content over everything. So I hope they capitalize on this opportunity. I thought this was probably one of the coolest things I've seen since I've been in this space. To see, there was one other situation that happened similar to this where my man CK from the C3 Panther podcast was flying a drone over top of the team, dog. Like he was like flying a drone and like, filming plays just to like, he like, yo, I know y'all do it with the phones on the sideline at training camp. I'm about to take it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna put the drone on them. And like they literally clipped them like, hey dog, like drone dang near fell out the sky. You know what I'm saying? Like Panthers reaching out to him like, bro, what is you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, goddamn, Pat McAfee was even like, bro, like he got shouted out by Pat McAfee. Like it was crazy. You know what I'm saying?
He was doing the most.
Doing the most. You know what I'm saying? and it was just, but bro, it was hilarious. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, man, it's just like that. But that's the stuff you do it for. To laugh at my expense. I'm here for the entertainment factor. I don't take this stuff too serious. You know what I'm saying? If I took this stuff real serious, let me tell y'all what I wouldn't have done. It ain't no way that I would have like really took this serious as a quote unquote real ball watcher. Shout out to my guy Maury, right? Because he the real one, not me. But I would have never told y'all to draft a 5'10" quarter. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been like, nah, Stroud to move. Because people that knew me, that knew ball was like, John, are you crazy? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, but I'm delusional. I'm a fan. I'm a content creator. That's what I do. So I'm never going to take this so serious as to let it put me in a position where I end up in that situation. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I hope that this gives them perspective to know like, hey man, y'all got love. Y'all got real love out here. Like for people, because here's the thing. You only get looked at from a place like Bleacher Report if the numbers is ran up by people reposting what you said. You know what I'm saying? You could have put that out there and people been like, oh, okay, cool. Like, let me know when you go back live again. We'll be through. You know what I'm saying? But nah, they like, y'all got real love out here. But see now, y'all might got some real love out here, but when they use that word very popular, I was like, very popular. I mean, we no, let me stop. Anyway,
so I mean,
Brad, what up?
Look, like, because it can be a joke, it can be funny. My best, advice bet for them at this point would be to come with their next live, their next, set of videos, and the first one being a pixelated video of Chris Tucker at the end of Friday, and be like, I was just bullshitting, man. And you know this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And come back and, keep working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, straight up.
It always reminds me, like, this right here reminds me of a story. When I was in my senior year, we had a little short, quarterback I played with since Little League. He was our backup quarterback. Kid had it was funny because he reminds Bryce and him, like, he's like 5'7".
Mm-hmm.
He had a cannon arm, throw it 70 yards in the air, but he was 5'7".
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I remember we had got beat. Our coach was, look, guys, we're doing this film. I mean, we were joking around in film study. Nobody was taking it seriously. And he was like, look, guys, I don't do this for me. I do this for you. And thing is, I could be home with my family right now.
Yeah.
I got 2 young boys, and that's what's important. And I just really would rather be doing that. Our backup 5'7" quarterback from the back of the room says, well, take your ass on home then.
Right.
We fell apart. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you expected us to be like, oh, man, sorry, coach, our bad. But we were 17. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's the same thing. Like, I get what you're going for, but David Tepper's a billionaire, and he's going to look at you and be like, all right, peace out. Spend time with your family. You know what I mean?
Hey, look, real quick. So I ain't going to say where I saw this, but some of y'all might have saw this too. And then I'm dipping after this because I'm going to say this and then we about to dip because hey, look, if it's really real in the field, then I might have to go get Pop. Pop say he popping bullets. I might have to get Pop. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, your man talking about, it was somebody. It wasn't a Miami guy. It was somebody else. But it was surrounding that conversation. But it was one dude, and I ain't even gonna pull his name up because I don't even. And I'm gonna say allegedly, right? I'm gonna say allegedly, but somebody was out there on them streets like Tep might have pulled up in somebody's DMs like, "Hey, bro, what's up?" And I'm like, "Hey, if you doing that." Hey, if you doing that, watch me get up out the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I promise you, billionaires, it's two things that they probably got on deck: lawyers and shooters. I'm out the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you pull up,
we saw him go down to that restaurant,
yeah,
and be like, "Hey, man, I don't know what's going on with the signs out front, but
hey, listen,
you know what I'm saying? He went down there like Wyatt Earp. You tell him I'm coming.
Straight up. Man, look, this has been another great one, man. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself, man. This is, that's what we do this for, man. That's why I said, man, it's, we don't really focus too much on, the negative, man. Like, that stuff is going to happen. I think you can, call out people. You can call out, the team for what they do or whatever like that. But that's part of what makes this fun, man. We get to, it be boring. I remember when the whole lockout thing had happened and Ray Lewis was like, yo, man, y'all really need to fix this situation because it can get ugly out here. They like, well, Ray, what are you talking about? Because there's people. I'm like, nah, you don't know where I come from. Like, we need something to do because if we ain't got nothing to do, it get crazy. You know what I'm saying? So part of what we do is just to, keep us sane. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're going to keep going, man. But, hey, Brad, give me a last word, bro.
December 24th, 2022, the Steve Wilkes-led Panthers dominated the Detroit Lions. In that game, Deontay Foreman was your leading rusher, which is his career high of 165 yards. Chuba Hubbard added 125 yards. So what we were talking about before, I'll say it. I would like Rico, and it's off one game, but I would like Rico to get the bulk of the carries. With Chuba spelling him, and see where we can go from there. See if the offense changes. Like I said, we got last week was the first week that Jalen Cover could start practicing. So they're looking for him to come along over the next couple of weeks. And after this Dallas game, we may have our full complement of offensive skill position weapons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be huge, man. That's big. So Brad took us out of here with some great facts. Man, celebrate the win, y'all. Enjoy the moment. These things are fleeting when it comes to the Panthers, but hey, we're going to live in it. We're going to celebrate it for the here and now. But I will say this before we leave. Make sure I did see that we had a new member join the fold. It is King's son. Man, we appreciate you for that membership. Listen, if you want to join the One Carolina, the OCs as I affectionately call them, $199 a month, just hit that join button, man. I got more stuff that I'll be rolling out. We'll start doing some members only, podcasts and stuff like that. And I do have a Patreon on the way soon. That's something that me and Brad will be working out at some point soon, and other people. Patreon is where you'll see a lot of other content where we really give it up. You know what I'm saying? And say some things that we probably can't not say on YouTube because that's what we do. But listen, man, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And the next time, as I tell y'all all the time, somebody try to convince you that you should walk away from anything that you love to do because it ain't going so well, hey, we're going to show up anyway, man. See y'all later. Next time.